Hey everybody, so I just finished filming my video from where I was doing the hauls with from the thrift store and from Hobby Lobby. I had gone out earlier today, drove around from I went out to Hermitage to the Hobby Lobby out there. All that's in the other video, but anywho, so on my way back home I just kind of decided to hit up Dollar Tree because why not? Like, traffic wasn't as bad as I was expecting, so I was like, hey, let's just go for it. So this is what I got, and I will say before I start, I got my dad some stuff. I already gave it to him. So basically I got him some, well, 4 boxes of those dark chocolate Raisinets. He loves those. That was it, papaya pineapple dried fruit mix. He loves that. And then one of those frozen chicken burgers, and then I got or chicken sandwiches, and then I got myself some of those frozen cheeseburgers, because those are really good. They're probably horrible for me, but they're really good and they're really cheap, so it's good to pop in the microwave. And actually I'm thinking about, I got something here that I'm going to show that I think I'm going to try with the burger. May do that in the video just for the heck of it. We'll have like a mukbang added to the end of here or something. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, so I was going in kind of looking for some stuff, but at the same time I wasn't really expecting much, and spoiler alert, didn't really find much. Find anything really that interesting. But they had their calendars out, and I've been trying to get calendars for the past 2 years, and at the beginning, or like at the end of the year or beginning of the new year, I can never find them at Dollar Tree. They're always sold out. So I saw these out and I was like, you know what, I better grab them. But at this point, like when I found the calendars, my hands were full and I couldn't really like go through them. So I just kind of went through what I could, but I ultimately decided on getting the lighthouses. And this one actually said 2-pack, and it has a little mini calendar in there too, but here's what they all look like. It's not the most visually appealing thing. They had some other ones that I kind of was like, ooh, maybe I should look into them, but I just, again, it was hard for me to go through. I was really hoping that they'd have a Kins one, and they probably did, but I just didn't come across it. Or they had a puppies one, but there's something about, I used to have these dreams when I was little about lighthouses, and it's really weird that I used to have these dreams about this person, again, when I was really little, involving a lighthouse and going like on the way to my grandmother's house. Like, there's this area, and I used to dream that there's a lighthouse in that area, and there's not. As far as I know, in real life there's not, but in my dreams there was. And this person I used to dream about, when Hanson came onto the scene, I was like, wait a minute, hold up. Taylor Hanson, I swear, he used to be in my dreams about these lighthouses. What, like a couple of years before MMMBop was even released to the public, or well, in the mainstream way. MMMBop was released a couple of years prior to when most of us know about MMMBop, but when most of us knew about MMMBop in 97, okay? So prior to 97, like a couple of years prior to 97, probably back when the original MMMBop was released, because that would have been about 95, was when I had these dreams about Taylor Hanson and lighthouses. So I had to get a lighthouse calendar because it just jumped out at me. I'm choking. Alright, so next, I got these makeup brushes, and the first one I saw was this e.l.f. one, and it's a stipple brush, and I was kind of taken back by this because I'm looking at it right now. I'm about to grab it, but I got one of these e.l.f. stipple brushes years ago, and it was like, well, it's supposed to be on sale, but Walgreens charged $3 regardless of it being on sale or not, so I don't think it was on sale. But here's the original I have, which has like loosened up quite a bit. Like the ferrule has loosened up, but I was like, wait a minute, looking at it, the Dollar Tree one's a little more fluffier than this one, or than this $3 one. This one's really pathetic too. It's not that dense, which I like a more dense brush anyway, regardless. Like, we used to use like stippling sponges when I was in my little makeup class at MTSU, and I feel like it's better to have a denser stippling because that way you can get into more crevices, especially on my face where I have tons of crevices that need getting into. So whatever, everybody needs a good stippling brush. Whether it's good or not is debatable, but stippling brush, yay. So that's that. And then I got this really pretty one. This one, I got this more for aesthetic reasons because I feel like this probably won't be that great quality, but sometimes Dollar Tree brushes shock me. So it gives me that unicorn mermaid vibe. But yeah, this is just like that no brand sort of thing, but it's a blush brush. That's actually really soft. I kind of, you know what? I got one of my, I was going to put this on earlier and I didn't. Maybe, like, I kind of wanted to see how this would turn out, but let's just do it on camera. So, I got my little Natasha Denona little blush set. So, I like how it has these little, I guess they're like little plastic bead pieces in there. I used to have a Sanrio, I think it was a pin from Sanrio Surprise that had like the little plastic beads in it like that. Like the little, they weren't full beads, but they were like chips of beads or something. Anywho, so that's actually not bad. That's really not that bad for a blush brush. I've had more expensive brushes that didn't hardly apply any product. Can you hear my dad's radio through the window? He's outside on the porch and I can hear his radio coming in loud and clear. Like the windows are shut, like closed, but years ago, the airport paid to have these special windows installed into our house and like everybody who lives like in line with the airport. And they're supposed to be like to help keep the noise levels down and to like reduce the vibration. I swear, our old like the original windows, this house was built in like, I think 1950. Like it was when my dad was a little baby, this house was built, or a little child, this house was built. And like we had the original windows when I was a little child, still on there. But they did these windows probably about 25 or so years ago, and they still, like, you can still hear everything through them. Like, I don't understand like what benefit they're supposed to have. Maybe they might help. They're probably better like keeping the air in the house than the old ones were, but still, I'm just was like, really, like y'all went through all that trouble for that. But whatever. Yeah, and so I can barely tell. Well, you can kind of tell. I don't know. It's a light colored blush anyway, and it's a shimmery blush. But which, I mean, I've said it before, I don't care. I'll wear, despite my skin, I'll wear like anything I want to wear. There's no perfecting this skin, so I just embrace it, y'all. Just embrace it. Embrace your skin problems. Alright, so that's that. And okay, so I got one of these compass protractor things, in which I've been needing a compass for so long, and I never think to like get one of these when I'm at Dollar Tree, like when they have them. So today I remembered. So these, great for crafty purposes, for drawing purpose, whatever. I think every household should have one, okay? You never know when you're going to need a compass or a protractor. And then my favorite toothpaste, which this box looks like it's been through some stuff. The Crest 3D White Stain Eraser and Fresh Mint. It says 1.5 times more free. I feel like in the past I've gotten bigger bottles than this, or bigger tubes than this, but whatever. It's $1. Are we going to be picky about toothpaste that's $1? Anyway, So here's some of my junk food and goodies that I got. So I've had these before. Seems like I've liked these. It's weird. I'm not a fan of kettle chips, yet I still continue to buy kettle chips because kettle chips have the best flavor variety than like the regular chips. But this is Zapp's potato chips, New Orleans kettle style voodoo chip. From my memory, these kind of remind me of like a spicy barbecue chip, like, or maybe I'm thinking like they should be like barbecue because that's where my mind wants to go, but it's almost like they have a little sweet to them, I think, if I remember correctly. But anyway, I remember that I did enjoy these for the most part. I'm just not a fan of the hard kettle chip. And what I do, like, Kroger sells this Nashville hot chicken kettle chip, and what I do is, like, I eat the deli meat chicken sandwiches for lunch, so I'll put the chips on the sandwich, and especially like for work, and that way, like, while it's sitting for hours upon hours, or like overnight when I make my sandwiches before the night before, like, the chips get soft and that flavor marinates into the chicken. That's my jam. And then we've had these at work, and I've always been curious about them, but I've been hesitant and I didn't want to spend the money. These weren't much cheaper than what we sell at work, and we usually have like bigger packs of them. But anyway, I figure let's just give it a try. I may do this on camera soon, but is it Tajín? I'm assuming it's Spanish. So would that be Tajín? Chili and lime peach rings. So I love peach rings, but I've never had the chili and lime flavored ones, and I'm curious. I'm really curious. Will I love them, or will I hate them, or will I just be neutral to them? So soon we shall find out. Alright, and then I got a sweet and spicy trail mix, which this says blend of butter roasted peanuts, hot Cajun corn sticks, honey roasted peanuts. Oh, did I say that before? No, I said butter toasted peanuts before, and honey roasted peanuts also. Almonds, pretzel sticks. I really don't care for pretzel sticks. Just putting that out there. I get annoyed that they put so much pretzel sticks in things, because I feel like that's just cheap filler they put in when you want all the other stuff. Just saying. And then honey roasted sesame sticks, which that sounds, other than the pretzel sticks, I'm not a big fan of peanuts, but I like the honey roast ones, so this actually sounds pretty good. We're gonna give that a try later too. I'll probably do that off camera, because crunchy stuff, it's hard for me to eat crunchy stuff with this thing in my mouth, okay? It doesn't work out so well. So finally, I got 2 packs of these because these look good. These were with the snacks, and I'm pretty sure that they are not a snack food, because they're, well, anyway, Fresh Gourmet brand, crispy hatch chilies, and it says great on salads, burgers, and toasted potatoes. So I'm thinking with those burgers I originally got my little cheese, well, I love my little cheeseburgers, but recently, like, now that we have like our jalapenos coming in the garden, I decided to make some Cowboy Candy, which is basically where you boil like vinegar, and it says sugar, but I used honey because I try not to use sugar unless I absolutely have to use sugar in something, which there's usually no reason for me to use sugar in things that I cook anyway. I already consume enough sugar in my soda and my donuts that I eat that I'm trying to avoid any additional sugar unless I'm getting certain candy. Or, you know, certain desserts like cheesecake. I love me some cheesecake. Or peanut butter. Peanut butter is good too. Especially Reese's. Chocolate peanut butter. Okay. Besides the fact. So anyway, I decided to use like honey, because honey's typically healthier for you anyway. So I made like, so the recipe I used, I searched all over the internet and decided on using the recipe. Like, I had 15 jalapenos total, which I like diced them up and tried them in the jar, like put them in the jar beforehand to see if they'd fit, and they went. I'm like, okay, cool, awesome. Like, they filled up the jar I had completely. So I used like for 15 jalapenos. So maybe if I keep saying this, maybe I'll like really remember it in the future. I'll have something to reference to in the future. I'll also post it on my personal Facebook so that I can reference that too if I remember it. Or if I remember to reference it when I can't remember. Anywho, so I did half a cup of apple cider vinegar, half a cup of water, because I have really old apple cider vinegar, like it's dark, but I couldn't find like the good stuff in the stores. They were sold out, and I was like, well, I'll just use the old stuff I have at home. And some people are saying you could use straight up water and no vinegar, but I'm like, for something that's going, anyway, we'll get to that point. So those mixed together, 2 heaping tablespoons of the honey I have, which is like, I can't remember what kind of honey it is. It's not Manuka. I want Manuka, but it's like, it's not really that processed. It's still like a cream color because it hasn't been processed that much. It's like a thick cream. So I use that. Maybe it has been processed. Maybe I've been duped about that, but supposedly it hasn't been processed that much. And then, a pinch of sea salt, a pinch of turmeric, and a pinch of cayenne pepper powder. So I did that. I boiled it all together, which I diced up the jalapenos into little rings. I did that all together I boiled it for about 10 minutes, which I'm not sure if I should have boiled it that long, because I know that there's something about simmering it. And so I think I actually boiled it for about 8 or 9 minutes and then let it kind of like simmer and like continue to cook with the eye off for like another 2 to 4 minutes, somewhere in that. But that's what I did, and then I poured it into a clean can. A clean jar. Now, you can can it, and I know how to can. Like, I have an easy method for canning, or at least I think it's easy, because we used to make this special salsa, and we had to can it, and through trial and error, I've like got it down to an easier way that's more manageable for somebody. If you're not doing a whole bunch of even if you're doing a bunch of jars that you're canning, it's an easy method. Anybody's actually interested about that, I'll talk about that in another time. But so I did those little Cowboy Candy jalapenos, and I was like, oh, I could put these on the burgers. Like, I could get some burgers and put my jalapenos on them, because like I usually like putting them in, like when we do chili. This would be great for chili too, because we always do like the Fritos in the chili. Yum. So I think I'm getting ready to heat up one of those burgers and throw some of these with my jalapenos and give that a try. Actually, I may try this just by itself, but I kind of want to add my jalapenos. But do I really? Maybe I'll add a couple of jalapenos, because when you don't traditionally can the jalapenos, I think just throw them in the jar like that, since it has vinegar in it. Supposedly they can last up to 3 months in the refrigerator, but I mean, I'm going to try to go through them a lot quicker than that. But and when everything was done and over with, like after, you know, boiling them on the stovetop and everything and pouring everything into the jar, it only filled up about 1/3 of the jar. So I figured that they'd cook down some, but I didn't think they would cook down that much, but apparently they do. So apparently my little 15 jalapenos only fill up 1/3 of a jar, so I'd need like 45 jalapenos to really fill up a jar. So next time when we have more jalapenos. Anyway, so I may be back. This video may be stupidly long, because I will be back with my little burger experiment. Alright, I'm back. I've got my burger here beside me. I opened up one of these packs, not this one, and I tried one of these by itself, and it's not really hot at all. So it just tastes like a chili. Like, it just has that green chili flavor, which, I mean, it is a crispy hot chili. So anywho, this burger is probably like heat-wise, like after coming out of the microwave, it's probably too hot for me to really be able to take a good bite, which I take little bites anyway because I have a tiny mouth. But we're gonna give it a go. Ow! I just burnt myself with the plate. So, yeah, the bottom of this thing is really hot. I'm just gonna let it cool off. And by the way, like they used to give a nice big piece of cheese to cover the whole, like, well, not the whole, but the majority of the patty. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's not a whole lot of cheese. Like, the cheese was maybe just a little, like, square, just this little tiny square. I was like, hold up. Then there's like one time that I got one of these burgers and it didn't have any cheese in it. I'm like, really? And then the last time I got one of these, there was also just like a little, like, 1 inch by 1 inch square of cheese. I'm like, what is going on? Like, it's not the best cheese to begin with. It may not even be real cheese to begin with. I don't know. I'm confused by why there's even synthetic cheese or process. What? I still don't understand that, and that kind of weirds me out. But these are so good that I'll let it slide. But anywho, I got my jalapenos on one side of the burger, and then I got the little chili, the hatch chili things on the other side. So I'm going to try to take a bite of the side that has the little hatch chilies and see how I like it. There's just something about these burgers, and just have such a good flavor to them. But, oh my gosh. Which is chili things kind of remind me, years ago, there was like that whole controversial commercial that Paris Hilton did with, was it Carl's Jr.? There was like this burger and she's like on the car in her swimsuit and like washing the car and just eating the burger. All this controversy about it. Well, we don't have Carl's Jr. here, but we have Hardee's, which I figured out over time, which like pretty much like Carl's Jr., or so I thought, until I actually went to Carl's Jr. on our Vegas trip. But anywho, but later on, after all that controversy, they started airing that commercial here, but for Hardee's, and it was the same burger, and it was like this, I forgot what the burger was called, but it had like it had this barbecue sauce, and I think it was a cheeseburger with like barbecue sauce. It was one of those thick burgers, but with barbecue sauce, and it had Texas toothpicks, which they were like that coated or breaded jalapenos and onions, or there's like breaded jalapenos and onions on there with that barbecue sauce. Oh, it was so good. And then like I had it I think I only had it once, maybe I had it twice, but then they did away with it. And then years later they brought it back out, but with a different name. Like it was basically the same thing but with a different name, and then I had that one like once or twice, and then they did away with it. Like they keep them for like a month and then they move on to something else. So I'm like, but that's, these things, these little hatch chilies kind of remind me of that. Like I've in the past have purposely gotten sweet barbecue sauce to add with like jalapenos onto a cheeseburger. I should have done, I'll do that next time. I'll use my barbecue sauce with my jalapenos, and because the jalapenos like are sweet, the Cowboy Candy, that's the whole purpose of like the sugar or honey, is because it makes them sweet. Which Kroger sells a sweet jalapeno slice, like a unsweet jalapeno slices anyway, which is what I get. And these are, well, they're a little bit better than Kroger, but they're similar to Kroger's, like the Cowboy Candy I made, that is. Anywho, while I'm at it, I might as well try my little jalapenos on here. So I'm just going to the other side. Oh my gosh. What am I trying to do? It's so good. I could live off of these. Sadly, I could. Oh my gosh. That was amazing. For me, that's amazing. Oh. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. I want that to be my meal for like the next 5 weeks. Okay. So, one more thing. I want to try these I'm still thinking it's Tahin. I don't think it's Tajin. Peach rings with chili and lime. And on the back it says, for best flavor, shake and enjoy. So they're all like clumped together. I don't know if that, and it says that they're mild, so I don't know if shaking them is doing any good, because they're all like, I'm trying to declump them. I'm thinking if it says shake and enjoy, that all the stuff is settled at the bottom of the bag. Okay, I can't open them that way. I hate ripping them down because then it's hard. Like, it's hard to manage the package, so I'm just gonna cut them with my little scissors I got from the Dollar Tree. Oh my gosh. Oh. I'm still thinking about my burger. I love them jalapenos. But anyway, ooh. Woo! Okay, if you know what expired lipstick and lip gloss smells like, that's the smell that hit me hard inside the bag. But they look quite moist. I'm kind of scared. Chili and lime flavored peach rings. I'm like, really, after eating the burger, I'm really scared. But oh, that smell was not my favorite. Usually smells don't bother me, but that is not my favorite. It even got the residue, so there's definitely some kind of sauciness going on in there. I don't know why I'm stalling. I don't know why I'm scared. Let's just go for it. Everybody's like, put this stupid thing in your mouth already. Why is it so salty? That's what bothers me. It tastes salty. Oh, that's a salt. Salty and sweet can be good. I mean, heck. Okay, now that the saltiness is wearing off, get more of the chili powder taste. I'm not really tasting the lime. I'm tasting the peach come through. So like the peach and the chili flavor, that's good, but that saltiness, I guess the saltiness is from the chili powder, but I'm not vibing with the saltiness of it. It's gonna be hard. I'm glad I didn't get any of these from work, because it's gonna be hard to go through this just because of that. Knowing that that saltiness is gonna be hidden. Ugh. Like I said, once the saltiness wears off, the chili and peach ain't bad. I think that's gonna have to be it for this. Even though I got a little piece that still has a lot of saltiness to it. I'm still not tasting the lime. I'm not mad about that. I'm not a huge lime fan anyway, but I know sometimes lime can accent the flavor of like the chili or peppers. or anything that's kind of like a hate flavor. Always have to chew everything up really tiny, and it takes me a while. Anywho, that's gonna be it for this video. So that's that. And I hope everybody's doing well right now, staying safe, you know, wearing your mask when you go out in public if it's mandatory in your area, which it probably should be mandatory in your area if you can handle wearing a mask. I know not everybody can handle wearing a mask. I struggle with wearing a mask, but I'd rather struggle with wearing a mask if it helps protect other people than not wearing a mask at all. Just saying. We had a second person diagnosed at work, and I'm pretty sure I figured out who it was, and it was somebody who worked with me and my group the last day that they were there. So I'm kind of concerned about, well, I'm not kind of concerned, I'm really concerned about that. But I have time off for the rest of the week. Like, I intentionally took time off prior to finding all this information out, like requested time off. So they don't seem really concerned at work about us. So as far as I know, I'm staying as safe as I possibly can, and I hope everybody else is staying safe too. So just hang in there, y'all, and I hope y'all have a good rest of the day, evening, night, morning, whatever time it is where you are. Continue on throughout the day, and thank you for watching.